So yeah, so welcome. So today I'm going to talk about going from 0 to 1 million. And that's one way to look at this. And I'll also talk to you about starting e-commerce business in different ways and what you can do. This talk will be in English, and some of the examples I will use will be in Swedish. And that's just because it's a bit easier for me, and sometimes I need to make things easy for me in order to fit in the time frame. Everything I'm saying is relevant from a non-Swedish perspective as well. It's just that some things might be a little bit more complicated. So yeah, and as I said, post questions in the chat, and I'll look at them a little bit later and try to answer questions which are there. My background is that I'm involved in a couple of different companies, which I was part of starting, and I've been around and near e-commerce for a long time now, so roughly 15 years, which is quite long in this time frame. And I have a couple of different companies, so like Contenter here and Mindpark, Campus Web Bureau, E-commerce Park. I started Rescued. I'm involved in Wellbify, Social Business Lab, School of Coffee. But I'm also somebody who runs an e-commerce store. And this is my e-commerce store, Nybryggt.nu. And it sells coffee and coffee machines online. That's kind of what the store is selling. And this store is something which kind of works by itself, more or less. That's not really true. Of course, it doesn't only work by itself, but it works with relatively little effort from my part. So what I'm going to talk to you about now is how do I do this? How do I set up a store? And what kind of what do I sell? How much effort do I put into it? What do I put effort in, and stuff like that. So this is how we will start, and then we will continue and talk about how you can set up a store. What is it required? This is something I've done. Is this something you can do as well? And most likely you'll see, yes, this is something you can do as well. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so this is our website, a web store selling coffee and coffee machines online. And how is it going for the business? I can show you that. So if I now I'm just checking how to log in. Here. So this is how it goes for the store. So now I'm logged into the back end of my website, of my web store. And this is a service called Vikinggruppen, which is a Swedish e-commerce service, which works quite good. And this is kind of how I'm doing. So this is November 2020. So far, we've had 233 customers this month. And we've had sold 636 products, a turnover of 122,000 kronor this month. And last month was 600 customers, 2,000 products, and 350,000 kronor in revenue. This is including VAT. So when you look at the company revenue, it's actually a bit lower from that perspective. So yeah, so this year so far sold for 2.6 million kronor. And this is done more or less on 15 minutes a day. And when I say 15 minutes a day, what I actually mean is that it's not 15 minutes a day, but it's a couple of hours a week and not so many hours. So it's like a little time each day, but it's not super much time. So that's just to give you some kind of impression on it. And I'll talk about what I'm doing and especially what am I not doing. And as you see, the year before 2019, we had a revenue of 1.1 million in total. And the year before that, we had a revenue of 500,000. So you see how this has grown over time. And this is one of the reasons why e-commerce is so interesting, because you can actually grow a company relatively easily just by doing a couple of things the right way. And you don't even need to do them right from the beginning. You can do them right over time. So you can get better at things all the time. So what do I spend my time on with running this e-commerce site? So the main thing I spend my time on is that I actually need to approve orders manually. That's kind of that takes a couple of minutes. So like now, when I look in the backend, I can see, okay, here there are 6 customers which haven't been approved. I need to check them, and I need to kind of go here and say, okay, yeah, you want here, okay, he bought these products, yes, great, activate so that I get my money. and then I just order it so that it's been activated. Great. So now that transaction is finished. Now I like, okay, now I'm done with that. So that took me roughly 30 seconds to do. But I have, if you look during the month, I have maybe 20 to 30 customers a day. So yeah, that takes a couple of minutes each day just to approve all the transactions. Nice. Yeah, not very hard. What more do I do with the web shop? What I also need to do is I need to have things in stock. So one of the things I do is kind of check, okay, how much do I actually have in stock, and how much do I need to purchase? Like, do I need to make a new order from one of the companies which deliver to me or not? And it's about trying to minimize how many like different suppliers you have, so that you don't have too many suppliers, but rather you can like order from a couple of different suppliers and then get things shipped to you. And for me, that's kind of been, I've tried to have around 5 suppliers for most of the things. So that's kind of what I need to check every now and then. Okay, how much do I actually have in stock, and can I get more in stock from the things which I actually sell? And that's kind of the basics. So when you look at this, you're like, wow, this is not so much work. And it actually isn't. Like these, like for me, it's really these kind of things. So if I approve orders, and if I make sure that I talk to my suppliers and get things in stock so that I actually can have them when I want to sell them, then I'm done. That's all it takes. Okay, it's of course a little bit more complicated because somebody needs to actually ship the products. So how do I do that? Because that's not one of the things I do. Well, for that I use so-called third-party logistics. And in my case, it's a company called E3PL. 3PL is usually a shorthand for third-party logistics. And so what my system does is that my system tells them what to ship, and then they pack it and they deliver it to the customer. So just to go back here and show how that looks. Shall we see? So when I was in the order here, for example, I'm just going back to the order I just approved. Here, the order I approved. Here you see there's a text which says ordern har exporterats till E3PL. This means that this order here has been sent to them for shipping, so that they know where to ship. If I look at new order, I can see maybe, no, this has already also been sent. But yeah, so this is something which happens once an hour. So once an hour, every order that is in the system which hasn't already been sent is sent to their system for selling. How does that look? That looks like this. Oh, sorry, wrong URL. I'll do it like this. And this is how that system looks. So here you can see which orders have arrived today. These orders have arrived today, and then they will package it, ship it. And so they are actually the warehouse that I'm using. So when I ask my suppliers for more goods and fill up my warehouse, I'm actually sending it to them. So I don't get any products myself. I'm sending my products directly to E3PL, and they will put it on the shelves in the warehouse. And then when they get an order, they will pack that order, tell that to PostNord or DHL, who's the ones I'm sending it with. You can see today they have sent away 18 orders, and most of them are PostNord here, but some is also with DHL. So it's different from PostNord depending on how much weight there is, for example. And they will send it to the customer, and that gets delivered to the customers. So from that perspective, very simple for me to handle. So I only need to approve orders, and I only need to make sure that there's enough in the warehouse, and they will handle sending the goods from my perspective in that sense. So yeah, that sounds pretty simple. And it actually is. So, but this is of course one of the things which you need to set up. So you need to set it up so that it works. And once that works, it's something you can just do kind of automatically. It's not super automatically, but kind of automatically. I could probably, if I want to, do it more automatically. So I could probably ask Vikinggruppen, the e-commerce store I have, to actually push on the activate button by itself, so that I don't need to approve each order. Could probably be done, but it's also kind of nice to have to understand, okay, what kind of customers do we have, what kind of orders do I get, what do they actually buy, and things like that. So from my perspective, spending a couple of minutes a day on that is something which is still relevant for me, because it also gives me some insights. Okay, what are my customers actually purchasing, what kind of coffee is actually selling, and things like that. But it could be automated further, I'm very sure of. Okay, so yeah, so that's how you run a business on less or on 50 minutes a day. It's as I said, it's a little bit of an exaggeration, because what I can always spend more time. So the question isn't that you cannot do more. Of course I can do more. I mean, I could do a lot more with this business if I wanted to. I could be a lot better, for example, on Instagram. I could have a lot more products in the store and try new suppliers and more suppliers. But if I do that, it'll take me more time, and it might earn me more money later, but it's not sure that it will earn me more money in the short term. So I need to go back to myself, why I'm doing this. And for me, this is mostly a hobby. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, because that's not what I want. I have plenty of other businesses where I like to spend more time. So it's just something which I don't want this to become worse. I don't want to ruin this. I just wanted to make it a little bit better, like gradually. And this is one of the things which happens. So when you do this, is that you actually get advantage of having things improve a little bit by itself. And what I mean with that? Well, the most important thing when running an e-commerce store is actually not how much time it takes. It's actually not how the logistics works. The most important thing is getting customers. That's the super most important things. If people don't find you, not so much use of having your store. So the most common problem is that somebody starts a website and then nobody ends up buying from them, because nobody knows that the website exists. And this is very similar to having a physical store somewhere. Like, yeah, you can have a physical store on Main Street, in that sense, on a shopping street or in a shopping center. If you have a physical store in a shopping street or in a shopping center, you're expecting people to buy from you. But if you open your physical store in the middle of nowhere, yeah, might not be that many customers that find you. So one of the key things with having an e-commerce store is getting customers to find you. And for me, this has been done through something which is called search engine optimization. So we need to understand that a little bit. Okay, so how does search engine optimization work? And I'll spend some time talking through that, so that's kind of the first part to understand. If you want to do this yourself, how does it work? Because there's two ways of getting customers to your store. One is you do the search engine optimization. The other is you do social media. There's a third way, which is called advertising. That works, but it's expensive if you're new, so it's not the best thing to start with. So it's either social media or search engine optimization. You can even do both. Works perfectly fine. I've chosen to do search engine optimization, because if you, for example, look at the Instagram of Nybryggt, you'll see it's super bad, just because it is there, but there's like very few followers, really little activity, and things like that. Okay. So search engine optimization. Search engine optimization. What is this? Search engine optimization is about ranking high on Google. So if I have a web store and somebody is searching for a product, I want to be here where they are. So for example, if somebody is looking for buying kaffebönor, you can have either ads where you pay for them, or you can be in the organic search. This is the organic search result. You can be in the organic search result and rank high there. What's usually the case with search engine optimization is that you say that being on the top spots gives you a lot of traffic. Being down here gives you super little traffic. So it's really like it's a game of few winners. Either you're at the top or you're almost invisible in that sense. Because like if you're, I don't know, you can just ask yourself, if you search for something, how often do you click down here when you search for something? Not that often, very, very, very seldom actually. Especially if the first results actually have what you're looking for. It might be that you look way down if you don't find what you want. But if you're looking for kaffebönor, coffee beans, and you see that, wow, okay, these guys, Nybryggt, wow, they definitely selling coffee beans, and these ones are, and these ones are, and these ones are, and these ones are. I mean, then you don't scroll down because there's no need to do that. And a lot of cases with shopping, that's the way it is. So you need to kind of understand, okay, this is quite good to be here. Of course, being at this location, that's something which isn't done by itself. This is something you need to work with. But this is something you need to work with in chunks of time. You need to put a little bit of time into it. It takes time for Google to recognize that your website is important and that you should rank high. And then when Google has recognized that a little bit, you can improve it over time. So just to give you an impression, there's some online tools for tracking these kind of things. So I'm using a tool called Wincher, which is a Swedish tool, which is good, I must say. It doesn't cost too much, costs a couple of dollars a month, and is very good at tracking just these kind of things. So here, for example, you see how am I ranking on different keywords. So I'll explain what you see here in different ways. So first thing you need to know is a keyword. So what's a keyword? Yeah, a keyword is the word I type here. That's a keyword. So it can be one word, or it can be, for example, I could say, yeah, kaffebönor, I can say köpa kaffebönor online. So then this is the keyword is 3 words. So that can be a bit confusing sometimes. Like, okay, but so the keyword here is köpa kaffebönor online. And then Google tries to find out which sites on the web are the most relevant for this search term, for this keyword. And Google does that by indexing the entire web. So everything on the web, which is public, Google indexes. And then when you search on Google, it looks through its index. Okay, which of these sites I've indexed are the most important one? And how does Google determine which one is the most important? Well, they look at a couple of different factors. In reality, they look at like hundreds, probably thousands of different factors, but most factors are not super important. There's a couple of few factors which are quite important. So yeah, so what do they look at? Well, they look, for example, on the website and what kind of text there is on the website. So if we click here, we go to Barista Shoppen, competitor of mine. They will see here, like, okay, this website, of course, has products, but they will also look for what kind of words are used on this website. Is it like, yeah, what kind of words are there? What are they describing and stuff like that? And you see here at the bottom of the website, there's a lot of what's called content. So there's a lot of content here which writes about coffee beans, all those kind of things. So this is a way for Google to understand that, okay, this website here is about coffee. So that's so they use the words here to analyze that. Of course, if your exact search term is on the website, so for example, if I now look if köpa kaffebönor is somewhere, let's see, it says it is somewhere, but I don't know where it is. It doesn't find it. So if you're here, so for example here, the keyword köpa kaffebönor actually exists on the website. So that makes it probably rank better because it's part of this keyword in that sense. If the keyword köpa kaffebönor online would be on one of these sites, it would probably be even better in that sense. So Google tries to kind of determine by analyzing the text and also like images and the image names and stuff like that, what is this website about? So that's one of the ways it does it. It does it also in other ways. For example, it knows that, yeah, okay, you can have text on a website, but you can more or less write you can write unlimited amount of text on a website. So in that sense, what's in the text is important, but maybe not the most important. However, it will also look at your headlines, because what kind of words are in your headlines is more restricted. You cannot have an infinite amount of headlines. You will only have a certain amount of headlines, and headlines are very short in general. So if you, for example, have a headline which includes the word kaffebönor, then it knows that, okay, kaffebönor is an important word for this site. It's the same with espresso machine, for example, or kaffebryggare. So like having the words you want to rank on in your headline is also a very good thing to do. Okay, so that's one of the things Google looks at. What more does Google look at? Well, Google looks at two more things in general, I would say. So the content of the website, super important for how you will rank and for Google to identify what your page is about. Another thing which is important for your website is kind of the technicalities of it, which means like the speed, the usability. Like, is it a website which loads quickly? Then that's good, because if your website loads slowly, then a user might get tired of it and not want to be like clicking back before it actually has finished loading and stuff like that. Or if the website has like a lot of information, or if it's not user friendly, then there's a higher chance that you as a user will enter it, but then turn back to the web result, and then Google will learn that okay, this page probably isn't so good because users return. So what Google wants to see is that when you search on your keyword, you find something, you click on it, and you don't come back. That's something Google likes, because then Google knows, okay, they found what they looked for in this website. But if you click on something and then like 10 seconds later you're back, then Google knows like, okay, whatever they clicked on did not fulfill their search query, their need. So this site probably isn't as relevant. So the usability of your site is quite important. You need to fulfill the searcher's need. Otherwise, you will not be able to rank high. So that's very important. Of course, if I'm searching for kaffebönor and I'm finding a site which sells kaffebönor, that's super relevant. So yeah, but if I would click into a site which just talks about kaffebönor and doesn't sell any, they just have a lot of information about kaffebönor, and I'm looking to buy kaffebönor, then it would not be relevant. So just the content itself isn't enough for Google to know that it's the right website or not. It's also about the usability of the website. And the third factor, the third important factor for Google to determine how good your website should rank is links. So what do we mean with links? With links, we mean that if somebody links to your website, then that's some kind of endorsement. It's a way for Google to know that, okay, this website thinks that this other website which it links to is important. So it's kind of like social media. It's kind of like a like, okay, if I have a blog or something like that, and I link to somebody from that blog, Google will see that as an endorsement. I'm endorsing this site I'm linking to. So linking is very, very important as well for SEO. So it's not that you link out of your site, it's that other sites link to you. And why is this important? It's important because it's an external thing. As a site owner, I cannot control how many people link to me. So because of that, I cannot influence it that easily. Of course, I can try to influence it, but I cannot control it. So not having control over it makes it more objective. And for Google, it's about getting as good search results as possible. Google wants you as a user to find what you're looking for. That's their main goal. So they want you to find it, because they know that if you don't find it, there's a chance you might use another search engine which is better at helping you find what you're looking for. So that's very important for them. So everything which is kind of outside of the website owner's control, they see as good, because because otherwise I can just say like, oh, my site is the best site about coffee, but it's only me saying it. Somebody else needs to say it as well. So that's why the usability and the links are important, because both of these things are external factors which Google can use to determine how good am I ranking, or how good should I rank? How much of a rank do I deserve in that sense? Okay, so that's kind of the basics of SEO. You actually don't need to know a lot more than that just to get started with SEO. However, a good thing to realize is that this takes time, because if you have a website, first it takes time because Google needs to find your website. Google tries to index the entire web. There's so stupendous amount of websites out there, so that takes time. So actually, if you start a new website, it might actually take months before Google even knows that your website exists. So that's one of the things which takes time. And the other is that if you're active on a search query, Google needs to try. Like what Google will do is that it will test your website compared to others. So when one person is searching on this keyword, it might show your website, and it'll see if you click on it and if you bounce back or not. But if another person searches, they might show another result, and then suddenly it will see, okay, wait, if I show this result, then fewer people bounce back, so it's probably a better result than if I showed this result. And this takes time for Google to try, especially if it's on keywords or search queries which aren't super common. Like, okay, yeah, kaffebönner, that's a quite common search query, but there's enough search queries where it's like 10 people, 100 people a month looking for this. And then this takes time for Google to actually try and realize, okay, which of these sites are actually the ones which should rank high. So all of these factors makes the time very important, but not time that you spend on the site, more time that Google needs to kind of determine which sites are important or not. So I'll show you a little bit more of how that is with, let's see here. So I'll talk you through this. So this tool, Venture, which I logged into before, is a tool which I use to kind of know, okay, which keywords do I actually rank on high? So keyword is here, kaffebönner. Best page I have on this keyword is this keyword. And this is something very important from SEO perspective. Often when we think about a website, we think about the domain. So here, for example, I searched on Köpa kaffebönner online, and I clicked on barista shoppen search result. And I actually got directly to baristashoppen.se. Most search results actually don't take you to the main domain. They actually take you to a subdomain. So for example, if you would click on my result instead, you don't enter up at Nybryggt.nu, you end up at Nybryggt.nu/kaffe, because this is the page I have, which is about coffee and coffee beans. So you don't want to end up here on the main site, because this is actually not the best site. The best site for you as a user to end up to is on this site. And this is also something here the Venture tool tells me. So if you search kaffebönner only, you will probably end up on this site. So Nybryggt.nu/kaffe/kaffebönner, because this is a page I have focusing solely on kaffebönner. Why do I do this? How does this work? Well, this is called a landing page or a sub page. And it's not the same as like your domain. Your main page is actually not that relevant if you have an e-commerce, because if you have an e-commerce store, it's often like sub pages or landing pages or product pages, which are more relevant because users are searching for a certain product or a certain product category. And then they want to end up on that page, which is about that category, and not on your main site, like on the main page, because the main page is often not that relevant for most users in that sense. So when you search for something, you can definitely keep that in mind and just see how often do you actually end up on the main site. And you see here, subpage. If you go here, it's kaffekapseln.se/hela kaffebönner HTML. Here, delico.se/kaffebönner. So it's not, this is the main site looks like this. This is the page you end up on if you search for kaffebönner and click on this search result. So these landing pages are very important, and they are important because I can tailor the text on those and the usability and content of those. So two of those factors I mentioned, both the content and the usability, can be tailored to that keyword. So if the keyword is kaffebönner, I want the user to end up on a website which only sells kaffebönner, not anything else, because they're looking for kaffebönner. And I want to have the content focusing on kaffebönner. As you see here, kaffebönner in the headline, kaffebönner in the sub-headline, those kind of things. I'm talking about different types of coffee beans. That's what I'm talking about here. I don't talk so much about anything else. I don't talk about coffee machines. I don't talk about brew coffee. I talk about this kind of buying whole coffee beans online. That's what this content is about in this sense. Because the more relevant this content is, the better my chances of ranking high on Google. So you see a keyword has a certain landing page. Which of my pages ranks the best? It's this landing page which does it. And I'm position 1. On this here. So the Venture tool tells me I don't need to Google. I can instead click here and I see here, okay, if I would Google kaffebönner, this would be the search result I get. And then it says volume. So here it says actually how many people a month, rough estimate, are Googling on this keyword. So there's actually around 4,500 people a month in Sweden Googling on kaffebönor. I'm ranked number 1, so this is an estimate of my traffic. Roughly 1,200 people should click on my link because it's kind of like it's just a simple math. If you rank number 1, most people would click on your link. If you rank number 2, less people will click on your link. If you rank number 50, very, very, very few people will click on your link. So this is kind of a way to do this. And as you see here, on a lot of keywords, I'm ranked number 1. But this is based, this listing here is after rank. So all the ones I rank number 1 are not first, and number 2, number 3, etc. But we can also see in the bottom here, there's keywords I don't even rank on. Like I'm 100 plus. I will never show up. I will have 0 traffic. There's a high search volume. A lot of people are searching for Melita kaffebryggare, and it's actually a product they could buy on my store. But my store doesn't rank on that search term. So nobody will buy it on my store through SEO in that sense. So this is something I could work on. I could make this better if I wanted to. And here as well, you see like different sites which ranks like rank 40 or around that. Super bad ranks, very, very little traffic. But on some of these, quite high search volume, for example, but very little traffic which comes from those. And traffic then needs also convert. So it's even less conversion than just traffic. But this is kind of a way to kind of figure out, okay, what do I need to do with my website? And as you see here, there's a lot of different landing pages, totally depending on like what kind of product am I selling? What kind of search queries are there? And these are things which also benefit from time because you don't know this in advance. It's quite easy to just have things in stock, but you need to have things in stock which people actually are looking for to buy. Because if you don't have things in stock which people are looking for to buy, it's not much use to have it in stock. So that's kind of the thing to kind of find out. Okay. That was kind of the introduction part to this. So this is how I've started my page. As you see, I'm selling for a couple of millions on it, a couple 100,000 a month, which is definitely okay. And I don't need to spend so much time on it. I could spend more time, but it's not about what I could do. It's more about what I have done and how much results it has. And I'll probably spend more time in the future because now it's grown quite a lot. So it feels like there's more potential on it. And also there's more revenue. So actually it earns enough money to actually be able to do something. It will probably not be me spending time. It'll probably be an employee. I'll probably hire somebody to spend time, or I'll have some kind of freelancer or so helping me out with different things. I like to be transparent, so I can just show you this as well. If you want to know how it goes, I have my numbers open. So here, if you go to I can do it like this. This is kind of my personal or my family's website. I have something here called Open Financials. This is a company which runs the e-commerce store. It's unfortunately in Swedish. Sorry about that. I haven't made it in English. Probably we should need to change it in the future. So here you can see how is it actually going right now for the company. So this is a monthly budget. Here is a budget for September 2020. What am I expecting? I'm expecting 400 customers. I'm expecting to sell coffee for 210,000 kroner. Sorry. I'm expecting to sell machines for 30,000 kroner and some other things. So total turnover of 260,000 kroner, for example. And then I'm expecting to buy coffee, of course, and the packaging and like the logistics, the third-party logistics. This is their cost. So around 50,000 kroner in total for them, and so will have a total spend of about 215,000. That's a budget. I have some extra employee which helps me out at the moment, just to kind of get some new products online. So I'll probably have a what do you call that? Profit, monthly profit of 8,000 kroner based on this. And this is how it went in September. So I had 550 orders instead of 400. That's good. I sold more coffee than I expected. I sold less coffee machines than expected. So the turnover was higher than expected, but not that much higher. It's a 132% increase since last September. So that's a good increase. That's good. I bought a lot of coffee. So I bought actually more coffee than I budgeted, but that's because I need to buy coffee in bulk. So I actually buy coffee for a couple of months, and this year is kind of a rough estimate of how much coffee I should buy. So this is kind of hard to budget in a good way. And these are the costs. So each 3PL cost me 64,000 kroner instead of the budgeted 50,000 kroner. And I had total cost of 360,000. So actually I made a loss of 80,000 kroner in September. But most of that loss is because I bought a lot of coffee, which I will sell in subsequent months. So I probably made a profit, but on a monthly basis, I didn't. So this is a way just so you can follow my business if you want to, and you can see like how much do I spend on different services and stuff like that. I spend 10,000 kroner a month on Google AdWords, for example, or on Google Ads. So that's also one of the things I spend money on and stuff like that. So there's more things you can do here, but it's a way just to get an overview. So that can be interesting to know. And so if you're running an e-commerce store and want to benchmark your numbers against something, you can benchmark it against these numbers. I'm not saying that these numbers are the best. They probably aren't because I don't spend so much time on them. So if I would spend more time, I could probably get them lower. But yeah, it could be interesting to know just how that is. So I can just show you again where you can find it. Oh, no, sorry, here it is. So on Deppert.se, and then you go Karsten Open Financials, and then you click the link here. You can find it there. Okay, good. So that's kind of the background on running a business. If you want to do it, what can you do? How hard is this to do by yourself? Well, I was planning to show you that this is actually fairly simple to do. So the goal is now that I will show you how to do it. If you are thinking about doing something like this, if you're thinking like, wow, this sounds interesting, but I don't really get it. How hard is it? How do I do this and this and that and that? I thought, maybe I can show it, because I think you can probably start a business like this in less than an hour. So now we have a little bit more than an hour left. So I thought we can try to start a business during this session. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. So if I would like to start a new business, I would like to do this. I would like to start a new e-commerce store. What should I do? How should I do that? Well, the first thing is that it's quite good to have an e-commerce store. That's a good thing to have. Well, for that, I would say we should use Quick Boutique. Quick Boutique is a local company here in Helsingborg, but they're the biggest in Sweden on these type of customers and these type of things. They're super good if you want to sell something to the Nordics. I will now do a web store which sells to the Nordics. You can definitely do a web store which sells international as well. It's just that you need to do these kind of steps I'm doing a little bit different. But I'll just, for the sake of the example, I'll do it a web store which sells to Sweden. Okay, so Quick Boutique, it's not the service I'm using. I'm using Vikinggruppen for my existing store. But if I would start today, I would start using Quick Boutique. So yeah, set igång. Okay, great. I can try for free. I need to enter an email address. This is a Gmail hack. I don't know if you know this, but your Gmail doesn't recognize dots. You can put the dot wherever you want to, and it will work as a new email address. So whenever you want to use a service multiple times, you can actually just change the dot in your Gmail address, and it will most of the time think it's a new address while it goes to your address at the same time. Okay, so yeah, so it's a service. It costs a couple of money, but you can try it for free, and we will actually send you out a link afterwards where you can get a free version which lasts for 60 days. So you can try it for 60 days without paying anything. Otherwise, it costs, I don't really know how much, around 500 kroner a month. So it's not super expensive. That's one of the reasons why I would definitely recommend it, because it's fairly cheap, giving what you actually get for it. Okay, yeah, we need to start a website. So we need to have a name for it. Karstens härliga butik is what we call it. Vet inte än vad vi säljer. I don't know yet what to sell. This actually is the next step. Now we're actually doing a little bit weird. We're starting the web store before we actually even know what we're going to sell, just because I think it's quite nice to have the web store set up so that you have it. Okay, great. And I got a temporary product, temporary website, which is super long and complicated. I want to make that shorter. I will take it karstensbutik.quickboutique.com. Perfect. Okay, now it actually tells me I need to make my first product. Yeah, okay, I don't know what products I will going to sell. So what I'll do is actually I'll just say here test product. It will cost 200 kroner. Perfect, no image, blah blah blah, nothing at all like this. Great. Okay, now I've created my first product. I can choose design for my website. Nice. Let's see what I can choose design wise. I haven't put there a picture, so it's probably super interesting, but yeah, I mean, this looks okay, I would say. I mean, I can probably change a lot of things here and a lot of information, but yeah, I'm happy with this. It's a good enough first thing. It has some additional information, and so that's good. It has, of course, the cart and everything like that. So yeah, I'm happy with this for now. So I'm going back to the guide. So now I want to, how do I deliver my products? Very good. Of course, I need to deliver my products. I'll use PostNord. And this is kind of one thing which people ask me about. I'll just delve into this up for a while. So people are asking, when you start an e-commerce store, people are asking like, how do I know, how do I ship the product? I have this product, how do I ship it to my customer? And the answer to that is you ship it the same way as you would ship a package to somebody else. Like there's no magic solution for a company shipping products in that sense. If you're a super big company, yes, then you can have actually an agreement with PostNord or DHL or something like that, and you can actually get them to come to your place and pick up your products. But unless you have a couple of millions in revenue, like even me with the Nybryggt, like it's not super clear that I would actually get PostNord to pick up the products if I had my own warehouse. Now I have a shared warehouse where somebody else is doing it. So they come to the shared warehouse and pick up the stuff there because they also are doing a lot of other products. But if I would just have my own products and my own warehouse and ship them, I would initially actually get them to PostNord. I would actually in the beginning go to the local post office and give them the products. And this works super fine. I mean, you could see in my store, what did I have? 20, 30 customers a day. Yeah, okay, it becomes a hassle when it's that many. But if I sell 5 packages a day, carrying 5 packages a day to the local post office, that's not so much work. So in the beginning, you bring it to the local post office, and it's not magically less expensive if you do it as a company than if you do it as a private person. Packaging, or not packaging, but carrying stuff, not carrying stuff, but sending stuff by PostNord, DHL, it's expensive. It's like, that's one of the problems with e-commerce is that it's expensive to ship. There's no way around it. There's no magical super cheap solution for shipping. That's the reason why people actually like say that they need to charge for shipping, because shipping costs you money. That's what it does. There's no way around it. So it doesn't really matter. So in the beginning, you can just carry your stuff to the local postal office or postombud and ship it through them to the address the customer has set up. That's how you do it in the beginning. There's no magic way of doing it, except if you, for example, have a third-party logistics provider doing it for you. But it's hard to get a third-party logistics provider doing it for you unless you actually sell some products. Like they will not want to have you as a customer only to have your products on their shelves, but you never ship it. Then you only take space from them. So when you talk to a third-party logistics provider, they will actually ask you, how much do you expect to ship? And if your answer is, I don't know, maybe 1 package a day, they'll probably say, sorry, come back when you're a bit bigger, because if you're only going to ship 1 package a day, it's not worth to do it from their perspective. Okay, back to sharing screen. So yeah, so I'll do things with PostNord. Initially, the best thing to do it. I'll ship to Sweden. The price charging the customer is either based on weight or it's a fixed price. I'll say a fixed price, and I'll say 49 kroner because for some reason 49 kroner has become the standard. It's actually not true. You can check here on my numbers. How much do I actually pay for shipment? And you can see here, if you just look at my numbers here, this is the cost of shipping. So I have a cost of roughly 40,000 kroner to ship 550 packages. And if you just do the math now and just say, okay, how much is this per shipment? you see I'm actually paying 71 kroner per shipment in average. This average cost of shipping for me is 71 kroner. So, but I'm still only charging the customer 59 kroner, and it's actually free shipping if they purchase for more than 500 kroner. But that's because that's what the customer expects. It's not because those are my costs. My costs are actually higher. So you can choose here as well. You could charge your customers 89 kroner for shipping, and then it will probably actually cover your shipping costs. But customers don't expect that. So, so unless you're selling something which they have a very hard time to find, might choose another web shop instead of yours, because they will see that, oh, your shipping is so much higher. So yeah, so it's something you need to experiment with. You can have flaktfritt eller belopp low, so no shipping over a certain amount. We'll keep that deactivated for now. Okay, so now we've said you can choose to ship with PostNord. And we know that behind the scenes, I will go to the local post office with my product, which we haven't decided on yet. So we don't know yet what product we will actually sell. Okay, and the customer needs to be able to pay. Yeah, great. So now we will see. Okay, great. So we can choose Klarna. Well, that sounds good. Let's see if I can do that without any hassle. Okay, then I need to upgrade my account. Not doing it at the moment, so we'll see. But I can see if maybe I can have all these other options as well. So I can see, for example, Stripe here. Can I, for example, start with Stripe? Let's see. Let's see here, business, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So yeah, so probably this is a service. Of course, this is financial information or financial service provider. So I need to provide them information with who I am and stuff like that. What's my bank account and stuff like that. But this can just as well be my private bank account. I don't actually need to have a company bank account to do this. I could actually set this up with my private bank account. Organisationsnummer is my personal number if I want to in the beginning. For example, if I want to start an enskild firma to do this and stuff like that. So all of these details here, I can actually enter using my personal information if I want to. Okay, so yeah, I'll probably be able to identify one of these payment solutions to have. So that's great. Or I could choose to activate Klarna if I subscribe to Quickbutik, for example. But now I'm just on a trial. I actually haven't subscribed yet, so I have these 14 days. And as I mentioned before, you'll get a link which gives you 60 days instead. Okay, great. So now actually my web shop is more or less done. Let's see if I can see where to launch it somewhere. Logga ut, se din butik. Here, perfect. So now this is how my web shop looks. Here I have my product. I can go to Kassan. I haven't chosen the payment solution yet, and this will take me a couple of minutes, and I don't have all my numbers ready, and I don't want to do that on a recorded video, so I won't do that. But in theory, if I just had added my details there, I would be able to make a purchase now. So with that, I'm kind of done setting up my store. And now I have a web store. However, I still don't know what I want to sell. And there's mainly two solutions to this. One solution is to actually already in advance know what you want to sell and set up a web store for selling that kind of product. And the other is to kind of try to figure out what would be a good product to sell. So what we want to do now is that we actually want to find out what would be a good product to sell. How do you do that? Okay, well, you need to, it's kind of easy, but it's also an uncertain thing. So what you need to do is to actually kind of figure out something which you can sell, but which not too many others people are selling. Okay, so how do you do this? What I would say is, so I want to sell something. I would say, okay, let's see. I want to sell ljusstakar. Ljusstakar, I would say. For some reason, I think ljusstakar could be an interesting thing to sell. And I can start anywhere. Now I'm starting with ljusstakar. I can start with any product at all. This method works on any product. That's what I will show you now. So we'll go through a little bit. Okay, how do you do this? What do you do? Well, the first thing I do is I choose one product. I choose ljusstakar. Okay, and then I Google it. That's the first thing I do. I Google the product. I Google the keyword. What happens? Okay, and I see the first one. It's the first the first, like the highest results are like Royal Design, that's a store selling ljusstakar. Savera, also a store. Ellos, also a store. Åhléns, also a store. Utex, also a store. Mio, also a store. Nordic Next, also a store. Okay, a lot of different stores are selling ljusstakar. If the 10 first results on whatever you're searching for has stores, it will be very hard to rank up there. So that's actually not the best keyword to have. Okay, sometimes I can actually be more specific. So what happens if I, instead of selling, like if I can look here, for example, okay? So those who are selling ljusstakar, what kind of products are they selling? Okay, different ljusstakar. Okay, so what I could do, for example, I could do like here, okay, candelabra, which is a certain kind of ljusstakar. What happens if I instead use that keyword? Okay, so it's a more niche keyword. It's not as broad, it's more specific. And we see here Savera has price runner, second result. Because this one was an ad. We don't count ads. We just do the organic search results because we don't want to spend money on ads. Savera has one. Next one is Price Runner. What's Price Runner? Price Runner is a price comparison site. That is okay, but it's interesting because that wasn't on when we. Oh, sorry, that it wasn't when we searched for ljusstakar. There was no price comparison site in the top results. Then we have Wikipedia. Okay, a Wikipedia site, that's kind of like, okay, that's information. That's not even a product. So if Wikipedia is ranking high on a product, that's usually an indication that there's not so much competition on this product. So then we have Royal Design, Candelabra, Fyndig, also a kind of marketplace aggregating from other sites. Mio, Utex, Barnaby, Crystalline. So there are results, but we will see a Pinterest, synonymer. So like what does the word mean and stuff like that. So probably candelabra is a lot better word than ljusstakar to start with, because the competition here is not super high. It's lower competition. So this is something we could do. We can say, okay, because we can sell a candelabra on on Karsten's härliga butik. Okay, but in order to do that, we actually need to figure out, are people actually searching for this? Because if nobody, as I said before, if nobody's searching for it, no point in selling. So yeah, so how do I do this? Well, I want to know search volume keyword, for example. And there's so many tools out there on the internet. Everything is, there's a tool for everything. Here, I don't know, keywordtool.io, no idea. Sounds interesting. I'm entering my keyword. Sweden, perfect. Just see what happens. What does it say? Okay, what does this tool say me? Does it say anything about how many searches a month? I don't know. It wants me to sign into something. No, not really. It gives me suggestions of related keywords. So that's good, but I actually want to know the search volume. Okay, this didn't fulfill my need. Let's go back to the search result. Keyword tracker. Let's see what this one tells me this. Okay, candelabra. Let's see what it says. No results on this query. Doesn't like it. United States is okay, of course. Yeah. Probably need to enter Sweden here. I guess there's very few in the United States searching for candelabra. Okay. Here we have something. Candelabra. Volume 5,600. Average number of searches per month over the 12 past months. So 5,000 people a month are searching for candelabra. Well, and we even see here more specific: candelabra gold, candelabra messing, candelabra silver. Okay, great, but not so many. And there's more, we don't see them. So probably if we sign up to the service, we can get more information, but now we just want to have the free information. So yeah, we see, okay, 5,000 people are searching for candelabra. That's okay, 5,000 people, that's good. So yeah, maybe this is something we should do. So in my fantastic store, maybe I should do like this. I should actually have a product which is candelabra. Maybe I should focus on that. So I change my product. Fin candelabra. Price, I have no idea yet. Picture, I have no idea yet, because I need to buy this somewhere as well. So this goes to the next thing. Okay, now I found something I would like to sell. How do I get it? How do I get a supplier? Like, where do I get this product from? Okay. Well, what we can do is that we're searching for this, right? And we can see here, okay, price runner. We clicked on this before. What can we do here? Well, price runner, which is a price comparison site, they have indexed 34 different products on this category from different websites in different stores. Okay, I can sort this after popularity. That's super relevant for me when I'm searching for products to sell, because the products here which are the most popular are probably products which are selling quite well. So if I want to have some kind of candelabra in my store, I should probably have having popular ones is probably better than having non-popular ones. Okay, so we click on the most popular one, Dora Alster candelabra. Okay, apparently it's sold by a couple of different websites, as we see here. And here we see the price, how much it costs. And this is, I would guess, Dora Alster. I don't know candelabra at all. I have zero idea about interior design in general. I'm guessing Dora Alster is a brand. That's my guess. So we need to find out, is it a guess? Is it a qualified guess or not? So I'm searching for it here, Dora. Seems to be their website. Let's see if it is. Bit unsure, but yeah, it could probably be right. Yeah, I'm guessing it's them who are doing this. Yeah, looks like they have all kind of products, so this could probably be something. Okay, and I can actually purchase this product here from them. But if we go back to the price runner, we see that it's sold for 1,000 kroner here, and it's sold for 1,000 kroner. And here, if I'm correct now, that this is their main page, they're selling it themselves for 2,000 kroner. Yeah, that's stupid for me to buy something for 2,000 kroner and then selling it for 1,000 kroner. Not the best thing to do. So what can I do here? Well, what you can do is I want to be a reseller. Okay, so somewhere here it says, for example, I can contact them here. So what I can do now is actually I can ask them, hi, I have this website, I have this e-commerce store, I would like to sell your product. How do you work with resellers? Like, do you have a price list for resellers? Those kind of things. And I will email them that. I can email them that from my Gmail address. It doesn't really matter, for my experience. I am emailing people from my Gmail address when I do this with all kind of suppliers. So apparently it works. You get responses, but not from everybody. Some won't respond to you, so that's fine. So I would email them and ask like, hi, okay, I want to sell this product. Like how much what do you have a price? Do you have a price list? What kind of products do you sell? Those kind of things. And I would say it's probably a 50% chance that you get a reply. So like the chance that you get a reply is quite high from my experience. And if you get a reply, they usually have a price list for resellers. And that price list usually is in such a way that you actually can have a margin on it. However, it might not be. It might be that the product they're selling is one of the, like this could be, it could be that this candelabra is the most popular thing they have. And if it's the most popular thing they have, well, then it might actually be that others are purchasing it, are selling it without a profit, just to get people into the store. That's sometimes the case. So for example, just speaking of my own experience, coffee is sold in a lot of normal stores as well. So if I would sell like Zoega's Skånerost, I would actually not make any money on that. So if you go to Nybryggt.nu and you check out what Skånerost from Zoega's costs, it's a lot more expensive than if you go to your local ICA and buy it at your local ICA. Why? Because the local ICA sells them at a loss or zero profit, most of the time actually on a loss. Because products like milk, coffee, those are products which get people into the store, and then they earn money on people buying other things which have a higher margin. And it's the same here. You need to kind of figure out, is the product I'm selling a product which people use to get customers into the door, into the web shop, or is it a product where they actually have a margin? And that you will only get to find out by talking to the suppliers. So you need to contact the suppliers, see the price list, and then compare it to what others are charging. You don't need to be the cheapest. That's from my experience. But you can't be, if you're costing twice as much as somebody else, it will be hard to convince customers to use you. But if you're specialized, if you're a store only focusing on candelabro, for example, then it's a lot easier for people to trust you. You can be the candelabro expert. Like you can be the best store for selling these kind of products. And then you have a lot more trust from your customers. So that's actually a way that you can charge more without, you don't need to compete on price. If you can compete on price, of course, that's good, but you don't need to compete on price. Competing on price is not always the best solution to this. So yeah, so that's one of the ways to actually find out suppliers and how you do it. And we can go back and do this multiple times with different suppliers. So now we've contacted Dole, apparently what they're called, but we can, and those were the most popular ones here on Price Runner, Dole. Then we have Orrefors. Okay, so then we can go to Orrefors. Actually, no, those sounds fancy. Yeah, Orrefors.se right here. And same thing here. With suppliers, it's also very interesting. It's not always that the suppliers sell it themselves. So it could be that some suppliers just have the products, but you cannot actually buy them from them here. So you can only look at them here because they only want to sell through resellers, for example. So here, you stock. Yeah, okay, we want to have candelabra. We wanted to have, right? Let's see. Do we see any candelabras here? No, kategorier, ljusstakar. Yeah, okay, don't seem to have, they only have the smaller versions, but yeah. Let's just see if we can buy something from them here. Nope. So you can't buy it from them. So the recommended price and stuff like that. So yeah, so here you also want to contact them and say like, okay, great, I want to be a reseller. Often they have kind of, sorry, yeah, stop loading, I want to see this page. So often they have like here, maybe become a reseller or something like that, or you just contact them. Hi, I want to become a reseller. Here's a B2B, for example. Okay, and you just email them, or you can call them as well. Hi, I have the store, I would like to sell your products. How can this be done? What do we have more? Firm is apparently also a company then. Kare is a company. Polspotten is a company. Skultuna. Yeah. So apparently there's quite a lot of different companies doing candelabra. So you just, it's not about having all of them in stock. It's more about being able to find them and to know that you can sell them. And then you can do the next trick. And the next trick is that you can actually, if you have talked to the supplier, and you know you can get your hands on these kind of products, the next trick is to actually put up the products on your website, put them here, write a product description, as many words as possible. The more words, the better for Google. So the better you will rank. So because if you compare, if we go back to finding here, so for example, we can see how hard would it be to compete on the search term candelabra with, for example, royal design. Then you can kind of see, okay, how much content do they have? Here is their content. So you would like to have more text than this, because more text, for some reason, in Google in general, more text better. So the more text you can have, which is relevant to the product or so, the better it is. So yeah, so don't be afraid of writing long product descriptions, for example, when you do these kind of things. And you can choose a picture. Picture isn't that hard to find. So using a picture, write a long product description, and put up the products on your web store. And then you don't need to have them in stock. You can sell them before you have them in stock. And here you can be a little bit cheeky. You can actually say that you have them in stock. And when you have a customer, you can email the customer, say, hi, sorry, it's not in stock at all, but it will be here within 1 week. Is that okay for you to wait? And it's okay if the first couple of customers actually then say, sorry, then I want to cancel my order. Because what's important for you is not the first sales. Those are actually not that important. What's important for you is that this product apparently somebody wants to buy. So the chances that somebody else will want to buy it as well are very high. So this product might be worth to actually get to you so that you can actually ship it the next time. But there might be products which nobody ever clicks on buying. And those products you don't want to have, and you don't want to shop. You don't want to buy them yourself. They can be still on your website, but you don't want to buy them. So it's about figuring out what kind of products are there that people actually want to buy. And that's the best way of doing that is through testing. And here again, that's also one of the reasons why it's good to have time. And it takes time for you to test, it takes time for you to put the products up there, and it takes time for people to find it. It takes time for people to make the purchase decision. So doing this over half a year gives you a lot more information. Then you can't speed this up. Even if you put a lot of products in there on a single day, you will not know which one people actually will buy or not until like half a year later. So this half year needs to pass anyway. So that's why one of the reasons why it's so super good to actually start a website while you're studying, for example, because you can definitely do it as a side business without any problem at all. Okay, we'll take a break. We'll take a 10 minutes break. So see you back here 16:25, and I look through the questions, and I will focus on questions after this. So if you have any questions, write them in the chat now during the break. I will look them through, and then we'll take the questions after the break. Okay, so 10 minutes break. See you soon. Okay, let's see. I'll say welcome back. Hope you're all back. Okay, nice. So many good questions. Love you guys. Okay. Yeah, so I'm taking the questions from the top to bottom. How do you find suppliers was a question asked previously, which I answered, I guess, I hope. So yeah, you found that. Why did I not choose to use Shopify? Well, it's just because I have no experience with Shopify. Shopify is probably also a very good option. My experience is that if you're going to sell something to the Nordics, Quick Boutique is better because Quick Boutique is aimed at kind of the Nordic customer behavior with payment solutions and all those kind of things. So I'd say Quick Boutique is better if you aim to sell it to Nordics. If your aim is to sell international or to the US, Shopify might work better. But I haven't tried that, so I don't want to vouch for it. But probably both of them are very good tools to use. So both work, I would say. Okay, Louise and Christina asked, how do you report to the tax authorities about your income from the shop if you don't have a registered company? And yeah, this is something that's very good to know. So in Sweden, if you have a company, you're actually allowed to have a turnover of up to 30,000 kroner without registering a company. You still need to pay taxes on it. So what you do is that on your declaration, on your I have no idea what that's in English. On your tax filings, I would say it probably is. On your tax filings at the end of the year, you need to put in there how much you actually sold and those kind of that kind of information. Whatever e-commerce store system you're using will probably be able to kind of give you that information in one way or another. Like it will tell you these customers did you have during this time period and stuff like that. Just as you saw. That my tool I'm using for Nybryggt will tell me like, okay, this much I made on revenue the different days. However, I will also need to enter the VAT, the moms. So that's something to keep in mind as well, not just how much you're selling, but also the VAT of it. So yeah, but you can just fill it on your own tax filings at the end of the year. Also, the way it works in Sweden, if you think, oh wait, I'll actually have a turnover of higher than 30,000 kronor this year, you can start your company afterwards. So when you start your company, the easiest thing to start in Sweden is a sole trader company, enskild firma in Swedish, or enskild företag. If you start that, you can actually retroactively up to 6 months kind of take into account anything which has happened during that time. So even if you start your company now, or if I would start a new enskild firma now for my new candelabra web shop, I would actually be able to take into that company any sales or any purchases. If I purchase candelabra, for example, up to 6 months back, be able to take that into the company in that sense. So my experience is you should always, that's why I'm talking about in this way as well, you should always focus with actually selling. Like your problem is not starting or registering a company. That's something you do once you have customers. When you have customers, you register a company. You don't need to do that before you have customers. When you have customers, and especially if you have multiple customers, that's when you actually should do these kind of things. So yeah, so you can do this without starting any company. No problems at all. But just keep in mind, you just need to keep track of your customers. How much have you sold for each month, for example? And in the beginning, if it's one customer a week, which is very realistic in the beginning, it's not so hard to keep track of. If you have 10 customers a day, yeah, then you have other problems, which are good problems, because then you need an accountant maybe. Yeah, you can afford an accountant because you're selling for enough money. So like it's a problem which will be solved. Are there any problems that you came across? Another question is, are there any problems you came across as a beginner you would like to share with us? There's super many problems, of course. The best way to run an e-commerce store is to have problems. And it is also to try things. You don't know the solutions. You try things and then you find out the solutions. And this is something which is even true for the bigger ones. So I mean, I don't know how many have followed that. Recently, Amazon launched in Sweden. I can just show you this if you haven't seen it. So recently, Amazon launched in Sweden, and Amazon. And they did a super bad launch, if you would say this. So Amazon is the biggest. It's one of the biggest companies in the world. It's in the world, okay? And they launched in Sweden after a lot of like, oh, okay, what should happen, what shouldn't happen. Okay, this is a podcast. So let's see if I can find an. So what happened when they launched? Let's see. Can we maybe here? I can just see if I can find something. Should they can have a category about Amazon? Okay, I'll search here. Oh, sorry, that's not what I wanted to press. Wrong button. I want to press here. And let's see. Oh, come on. Amazon. I need to spell it the right way also. Amazon. Let's see here. Maybe this one. No, okay, let's see if it's this here, for example. Okay, now you can't find the article. But however, so when Amazon launched, what happened was that they actually made a lot of spelling errors, and not just like small spelling errors. Like they did a super embarrassing spelling errors, like translating.
I put the link in the chat.
Oh yeah, perfect. So there's a link in the chat. So if you want to look that, check out that link in the chat. And yeah, it's super bad spelling errors they made. Really like yeah. But even they make mistakes, and that's because they know that the way to learn e-commerce is by making mistakes. You put something up there, you see if it sells or not, you see how the customer interacts with it, and either it sells or it doesn't sell. So that's kind of the way you need to do it. So there's definitely no like right and wrong in this sense, or there is a right and wrong, but you don't know in advance what is right and what is wrong. So you need to test, you need to learn. So yeah, so even the biggest ones do it this way. So that's definitely the way of doing it. The worst thing you can do as an e-commerce owner is to kind of do the perfect store with the perfect products. Like that's waste of time. Do an imperfect store with imperfect products and learn from your customers and see what people do interact with. What do people buy? How do I rank on certain products? Can I rank better on certain products? And that's also something like, you don't need to use tools like I showed you the tool Wincher for checking how you rank. You can just Google. You can just type into Google the keyword and just see where is my page on that. Like how long down do you actually see my page? So initially I kept track of this. Let's see if I can show that. Initially I keep track of that manually. Let's see. Keyword. 1 second, I'm just seeing here if I can keyword. here. So I'll just share my screen again. Here you see, I think, or is this? Yeah, and let's see. So this is an Excel sheet, which I made in the beginning. So you see here, week 13, in March 2018, I Googled Mockamaster, and I wasn't on the top on the first 50 results, and then I just didn't care to look anymore. Okay, I Googled kapselmaskin. I wasn't there but I Googled Mockabryggare. I was place 14. Okay, nice. And then I Googled kaffemaskiner. I didn't Google Arvid Nordqvist because I don't have it in the stock, so I didn't care. Kaffemaskine, place 3. And then like a couple of weeks later, I did the same again. And a couple of weeks later, I did the same again. And then you can kind of see this. Okay, how does it change? Do I improve my ranking or not? Like, okay, here I had place 10, and then I ranked down. That's happened sometimes. And here's like, okay, place 33, so I get scorenost, and then it gets better. And then, so like this is, you can do this manually. The only thing that you need to think about when you do it, you need to do it incognito, in private search. Because if I Google on kaffebönor, now, okay, that's a bad. I'm just checking which keyword I'm actually not ranking so good at. Let's see. Keyword I'm not ranking so good at is, where's Wincher? Here's Wincher. Let's see, a keyword I rank here. Okay, this one, kaffebönor. Okay, so if I now do a normal search on kaffebönor, I'm 4. Okay, that works. But because if I do a normal search, there's a chance that I will rank higher because Google knows me and knows that I'm interested in this website for some reason. But if I do an incognito search, it doesn't take into account what it knows about me. So this is kind of a more neutral kind of way of searching. So if you want to find out how you rank, you should do it in incognito mode, incognito searches, or private mode in Safari or so. So that's the way of doing it. And this, so you just enter it, you check, I'm place 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4, enter it into your document, go to the next keyword. So yeah, that's the way to find out those kind of things. Okay, that was a long answer about mistakes you've done in the beginning. But yeah, there's so many mistakes to do. There's of course problems. You have suppliers which don't supply when they said they will. You have relatively little customer problems, actually, from my experience. Customers are super good. It's more suppliers. Suppliers can be more problematic, especially from my perspective. I buy a lot from Italy and the rest of Europe, and it's just as paperwork. Like they want actually you to stamp a paper and to sign it. It's like, can't I just email? Like, yeah, so those kind of things. Did I actually do a market research before I started? No, actually I'm cheating a little bit. So I did actually not start this Nybryggt. I actually took it over. There was somebody else who started it, but they didn't want to spend any more time on it, and there were a couple of people and they couldn't really agree. So actually the website was already up and running when I took it over, but it was had very low volume. So from that perspective, I didn't do any market research. So I just assumed people that they had done it more or less, and that there was a need for this product. So yeah, so I didn't do it, and no market research from my perspective. However, once you're up and running, you could do continuously market research. So the thing I just told you about finding candelabra, for example, that's what I do every now and then. So maybe once a month, I spend 1 or 2 hours looking for alternative products I could get into my store, into my stock, and just to see like, will this actually sell or not? So I can just show you now. The last example I've done is like a couple of weeks ago. Let's see again. I'll share here. So a couple of weeks ago, what I did was for example, that I realized that there was. Or I can show you how I found this out. This can be quite interesting for you to know. Okay, here. So in Venture, so what happened was that in Venture, I looked at here. So in Venture, I looked at like, okay, different keywords I had identified since before, and like, how do I rank? And I saw, for example, that the keyword kaffeburk. So we'll see here, where's kaffeburk? Here's kaffeburk. I rank not that good, but there's quite a higher volume on that. So I was like, and I'm selling, I have one kaffeburk from Zoegas, which I'm selling quite a lot of. So I was like, maybe I should have more kaffeburkar in stock. So what I did here in Vinci, you can actually, you can enter competitors. And this is actually how I found it. I realize now, sorry, I lied to you. This is how I found it. I entered the competitor, which is kunglitkaffe.se. And I was looking here are theirs, and here are my results. And like, what do they rank on better than me? And when I did that, I realized that they rank better on me on the keyword kaffeburk. Let's see where that is. Kaffeburk here. So they rank number 6 on it, and I rank number kaffeburk now 29. So I was like, what do they sell on it? So I clicked on the link here and like, okay, so this is their landing page for kaffeburkar. And I was like, okay, they have these, which they sell. Is this something I can get into stock? So I clicked here and like, okay. They're actually not selling. It's actually not a competitor site. They're just redirecting traffic. It's called affiliate. So that's also something you can do. If you're good at getting traffic, you actually don't need to sell the products. So Kungligt Kaffe, they don't have any coffee at all. All they do is that they give other people who sell coffee traffic. That's all they do. So they don't even sell any products. So that's why when I clicked here, I actually came to Royal Design. And then they get a commission from Royal Design for this. So if you're good at getting traffic online, this is something you can do. But that's called affiliate marketing. Google it and you have super many ways of finding information. So I realized, okay, they have Solstickan. I recognize this, didn't know they have coffee burkar. And they had this here as well. So I just sticked with them. So I actually was here like, okay, Solstickan. Then I Googled Solstickan. That's a brand, Solstickan Design. What did I do? I contacted them, wrote them, hi, I would like to sell your coffee products, your coffee cans. Can you have all kinds of things, but I only want to sell their förvaring here, their kaffeburkar. So I wrote them, they called me back, and I talked to them and said, hi, I have this web store, I want to sell this. And they were like, we have quite a lot of people requesting to sell our stuffs. But I was like, yeah, but I'm only specialized in coffee, and I want to have the best store for coffee. And they were like, yeah, okay, that sounds good. You can buy our coffee cans. Okay, great. And then I ordered. And now I have turnover, so I actually ordered them directly. Otherwise, I would have tested it first, as I mentioned to you. So that's one way of doing this. And another is, what more did I hear? I was here somewhere. Yeah, here I was. And the other was these ones, for example. And then I checked with another website. Come on. Sorry, it's just, you don't see this, but the Zoom instrument panel is away from my tabs here. And then I kind of found out who made these as well. I needed to search around a little bit, but then I found out that there's actually a company making all of these. And I contacted them. I'm like, hi, okay, I would like to sell some of your coffee cans as well. And I could do that. So yeah, so that's a way to kind of do continuous market research. Market research is never done. You always do market research, like continuously. That's what you do. Okay, next question. What are your thoughts on dropshipping, branded dropshipping? So that's the way of doing it. So I'm using third-party logistics. Third-party logistics means that it's my products. I actually buy the products. I have somebody else store them and somebody else send them. There's something called drop shipping, and drop shipping is that you don't even buy the products. Somebody else has the products. You only buy them when you have a customer, and they ship it directly to the customer. That's definitely something which is possible. If you can find good like suppliers which can drop ship for you, that's super good. For coffee, it's not relevant because coffee is such a small order. I would say it's more relevant if you sell more expensive stuff. For example, candelabra, that's a little bit like, yeah, that may be a product which you could drop ship. But I would say in general, I would say like if it's a cheap product, drop shipping it might not work. If it's an expensive product, drop shipping it might work very well. With Nybryggt, for example, we drop ship certain coffee machines. So if somebody buys like a 15,000 kroner coffee machine, we actually don't have that in stock. We call the supplier, and the supplier ships it to them directly. Because it's like you don't want to have a 15,000 kroner coffee machine in stock if you don't know anybody who will buy it. So yeah, So that's a way to use drop shipping on more expensive things. It's the same, but you can ask that. It's the same way as finding a supplier. You can ask the supplier, what's the minimum quantity? How much do I need to actually purchase in order to do it? Can you ship directly to consumers if I give you those address? You can ask them that. Okay, more questions, Sophia. I'm thinking about difference between being a reseller and other brands versus creating your own brand. In your opinion, it's a way to start your own brand of product also with this smart test first approach as a side business, not having to pump a lot of money in to begin with. Having your own brand might definitely work. The problem is you need to get customers. So that depends on, like with Nybryggt, I rank very high on all kind of keywords relating to coffee, buy coffee, coffee online, coffee beans, of course, all of those in Swedish. I rank quite high. I could start my own coffee brand, Karsten's Kaffe. Sounds good, doesn't it? I could start that. But the problem is most customers will not buy it. So it's not just about having the traffic. You also need to have products which customers trust. In my case, coffee is a little bit hard to do as my own brand because it's a taste, and people don't really know the taste when they buy it online. So they want to buy something they know the taste of. So if you, for example, do candelabra, then you could actually do your own candelabra and sell it online because it's about the looks, it's about the aesthetics and not about the taste. So the looks is easier. So what I would say is it depends on what your product is. For certain products, it might be very good to do your own. For a lot of products, it's not really relevant to do your own until you have a lot of traffic. Now that I have a lot of traffic, I could start my own brand and kind of see if people buy it and kind of see, okay, how can I get people to try this coffee of mine? But I would definitely not start there. That's the hard way of starting. It's so much easier to start with other people's products. Okay, another questions. Where can I ask questions about legal or tax aspects? Well, you can book a business meeting with somebody at Venture Lab, for example. You can talk to Nyföretagarcentrum. You can Google. Google is like Skatteverket have so much information online. You can also call Skatteverket. They're super good. It's one of the most service-oriented government agency. Super good to have to deal with. So I call them or email them. Hi, I have this. I want to do this. How should I do? Or not, maybe not how should I do, but I understood it that I should do it like this and this. Is that correct? Things like that. So ask around. But otherwise, Venture Lab, Nyföretagarcentrum, all of those have free business hours where you can get advice. And you can also talk to an accountant. A lot of the bigger accountant firms will also meet you and help you out for just to get to know you as a potential customer. So that one doesn't need to cost you. Maida asked, can I start selling products for testing purposes that I do not have yet, knowing it can take a couple of months to get? Do you think it can negatively impact the trust between the customer and the business owner? It will negatively affect the trust between the customer and the business owner. You should not care too much about that. Why am I saying that? So with Nybryggt, as I said, I didn't start it. I took it over from a couple of other people who had it. They did not put so much love into it, especially like in the beginning, but when they kind of started to say that, we should maybe not do this, there wasn't so much love. There was a lot of hate from customers. Customers were angry because they just hadn't cared about customers. They hadn't sent the products as they had said they would send the products. So the customers were angry. So they get super bad reviews on some online sites, for example. Doesn't matter, because in 1 year's time, you have different customers and new customers. As long as you're good to the new customers, having the older customers being angry won't affect you so much because they will just not come back. That's the effect. They will not come back. But you have a very small store. So losing 1 or 2 customers initially has a very low impact in the long term. So in the beginning, you should not care about it too much. In the long term, as long as you do good service towards future customers, you will have good reviews. If you look now at Nybryggt, super good reviews, fantastic reviews. So one of the best review sites, sorry, Trump. No, but it's super good reviews actually, because it depends on how you work with it. You can work with it in some smart ways as well. So what I mean with that is that initially you will when you test things, you might upset some customers. It will happen. You can quite often be relatively honest to them. So you can say to them, hi, this doesn't go as planned, or we couldn't ship this as planned. Takes a longer time. Do you want to wait, or would you like to cancel your order? We totally understand if you want to cancel your order. So those kinds of things. That's a little bit about communication as well. but I wouldn't be too afraid of it. Sorry, some technical error that's hopefully solved. I don't know. Another question is, do you have any experience with Obaloo and would you recommend it? Sorry, no idea, haven't heard about it. How much time, next question is, how much time did you spend on Nybryggt during the first month when you started it? Less time than now, I would say. But it's, yeah, it's, yeah, I would say a couple of hours a month, like super little time. It's not really true, of course. It's the very initial start. I needed to spend some hours just to understand, okay, where do I log in? How does the email work? Which are the suppliers? So I just needed to kind of understand that. That took me maybe 1 day in that sense. But in the beginning, super little time. And actually, I would say a little bit too little time. It was first when I spent a little bit more time that I actually understood. Okay, wait, who are the customers? What kind of products do they actually buy? Because it's very easy to have an idea what you think they buy. There's another thing to look at the numbers. This is actually the product they bought. I have no idea why people buy these products, but apparently they do. Great, I should have those products in stock so that I don't run out of them. Things like that. Okay. Great. Let's see if I can get more questions here. Let's see, Victoria. If you're an international student here at the university, would you advise us to open an online store in our home country rather than Sweden due to legal reasons, or does it not matter that much? It might be simpler to do it in your home country. I would say it always depends on who do you want to sell to. Like, what's your market? Is your market Sweden? Is your market your home country? Is your market international? So yeah, so if you're like, okay, I just want to sell, I want to sell to Sweden, I would open it in Sweden. Do you want to sell to your home country? I would open it in your home country. Do you want to sell international? Might be better in your home country, but depends a little bit. Do you need to get your stuff bought here? Do you need to ship from here? Those kind of things. But my experience is that these kind of things, you can always transfer that. Like, you can start it in one country, and then you can always say like, now, okay, this website, I need to transfer it to this company instead. Like Nybryggt, I didn't start it, somebody else started it, I just acquired it. So there was a transfer. It was within Sweden, but still, one, like, their company left it and my company took it over. So like, it's possible to transfer a store in those kind of sense. So start where you feel the most confident and you feel you have the least questions, and move on from there. That's how I would do it. If you want to start a new e-commerce store today, what would you sell? I'm thinking about trends in the Corona crisis. As I said, you don't know in advance what you actually want to sell if you do this approach. You Google, you find things. You might, of course, if you have an interest for a product, that's a very good way to start, but you should not be too focused on your own love for a product. You should be more focused on what do customers want. Find like holes in the market. Okay, on this search result, there's not so many competitors. I can sell those kind of products. I can get my hands on those kind of products. I'll start to sell those kind of products. So if I would start something today, I don't know what, maybe candelabra. There's super many things which are not saturated. The market is definitely not saturated. So there's like super many things. So yeah, I would not sell. It's good to be right in a trend. That's super good. So for example, if you 5 years ago were like fidget spinners, that's maybe something I should sell, would be super good, because then like three years ago you would sell a lot amount of fidget spinners. But that's very hard to do. It's very hard to know in advance what will be a trend or not. But if you have some way of knowing what will be a trend, that's good. And selling something Corona related, I would actually not do it, because that's an anti-trend. Corona will pass. Like, we're in it now, but in 2 years' time, the products which are needed now because of Corona, they will not be needed in 2 years' time. So that's an anti-trend. So I would not do something Corona related in that sense. Okay, so last 2 questions. Can you suggest other ways to test the product that they want to sell? Customers. You need to ask customers. The best way of testing something is to get a customer to click a buy button. That's a super good way. That's a super obvious way they want to buy this. So open a web store, have the products there, get people to click the buy button, apologize for them for taking a long time with the delivery, move on from there. I would say that's the best way of doing it. A far second is to ask people, but people will tell you wrong things. You will ask them and they will tell you nice things, but it's about making purchase decisions. It's very hard for people are not aware of how they do purchase decisions themselves. So they will tell you something and it will not be true just because they don't even know themselves how they make purchase decisions. So test. That's the beauty of digital and e-commerce. You can actually test. So do that. And do you have a return policy? Yes, I have a return policy. The advantage of selling coffee is that coffee is a food. Food is not a part of the like you don't need to have a return policy if you sell food, because it's exempted from that. But otherwise, the usual policy is in Sweden, it's 14 days that you need to be able to return it. So if a customer complains, you need to be able to return it to you. There's a lot of information on this online as well. So if you do this in Sweden, you can definitely just Google like användarvillkor, or like what's it called in Swedish? Kundvillkor probably, or something like that. And just like Google that for e-commerce. Look at, like, the easiest way of finding it out is looking at other e-commerce stores. Go to the big e-commerce stores and like, hi, what's their return policy? Okay, great, take something similar to that. That's probably a very good return policy. In practical terms, you should not be too worried about returns. Like returns, if it turns out that 1 in 5 customers makes a return, then you should look into that when you have like 20, 30, 50 customers. Yes, then you should look into that. How can you minimize returns? But before you have 50 customers, you don't need to worry about returns. Worry about getting to 50 customers first. Then you can worry about, okay, how do I actually do with returns? Why did they return? What kind of information do I need to provide better on my website so that they will not return, so that they instead will have the right expectations? Because returns is a lot about wrong expectations. I expected something, I didn't get it. There's some things which are exempt from that. For example, clothes. A lot of people return clothes even if they have the right expectations. But that's kind of the only products where that's relevant, I would say. Most products people buy and keep. If they return it, something is wrong, and that's probably information on your website which is wrong most of the time, or it broke, stuff like that. But yeah. But it's in general very little problem. It's like super small problem for most businesses, I would say. Great. Okay, that was all the questions. I would say thank you for listening in. I hope you learned a lot of things. And yeah, there's a survey. If you check out the chat, please fill in the survey. Because we would like to know how these events are, what we can do better, if these events help you. They'll also be sent out an email with the link to Quick Boutique, to the 60 days trial, so that you can sign up there, and then you can set up your 60 days without needing to pay anything. So you can just check it out, set up your store, things like that. So if you start that now, you can actually do that over Christmas as well, and things like that. So yeah, but yeah, thanks for listening. Hope it was great, and yeah, nice to have had you here. Take care. Goodbye.